As established, 2D animation is my favorite type of animation. However, I'm well aware that other types have their advantages, and that's interesting in and of itself. So what does each type have to offer? Side note, when I'm talking about animation types, I'm mainly talking 2D, 3D, and stop motion. But I'll throw in live action as well. Believe it or not, it actually has some advantages, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So again, because 2D doesn't need to go through a 3D space, it's much easier to create compositions, get lovely colors, experiment with visual styles, and stretch continuity. If you want a certain composition, it's easy to change an object's size, position, or shape. It also has the best movement. It's pretty easy to get started. Even a $30 tablet can do a lot, and the software isn't too bad. 2D is really forgiving in terms of quality, and even really basic flash animations can work great. On the other hand, 2D isn't very good with complex camera movements. It can do them, but you need to animate the background by hand. It's also not great with texture, and I do like texture. And finally, when productions get bigger, there's a limit to how much you can divide up the work. Yes, you can get someone to do your in-betweens, but at the end of the day, you need really good animators to get really good animation. 3D, on the other hand, is much more modular. You can have multiple people working on different stages, and even the same stage. A character can have many animators. You can also get pretty nice textures, and when it comes to camera movements, 3D puts every other medium to absolute shame. On the other hand, it's complicated. Really complicated. 3D software is difficult to learn and almost impossible to master. It takes a lot of effort to make it look good and move well. You're always skirting the uncanny valley, and it can get really expensive. Unless you're doing really simple stuff, you'll basically always want a better computer. That's why 3D tends to work better in medium to large productions. It's just hard to do on your own. Stop motion is kinda niche, but very cool. It's the king of texture, both in the materials and the movement. Stop motion movement has a certain charm that I really like. You can also do some pretty cool things with the camera if you're good enough. Then again, it's a pain. A big one. A huge pain in the ass, and I don't ever want to do it again. Everything is really delicate. You need to work in a vault to block any outside interference, and if you make any mistake, the shot is probably ruined and you need to start over. It's best for small to medium productions and needs an initial investment, but after that it's not too bad. Finally, live action. Live action has some things it's great at. You can have a lot of nuance in acting, for example. You can get great textures really easily. You don't need to plan everything, so you can be more spontaneous. And camera movements are pretty flexible, I guess. Like the distant second place after 3D. Maybe there's more, I don't know, I don't care. Live action works best for realistic dramas and horror and basically nothing else. You're much more limited in setting, character design, expressive movement, colors, composition. You can't work in any setting that's more than a little different from reality. Any sufficiently fantastical or sci-fi-y movies are basically animation and some people in green rooms. But it has to look realistic because animation isn't for serious movies, so the productions balloon to ridiculous sizes and it usually doesn't even look that good, and you need a ton of money and can take much less risks, so you make what's popular and the whole industry just gets so boring. I may have some bias here.